Judge Carr will be presiding over the mock trial. You may be seated.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Judge Pinky Susan Carr, and it is my pleasure to preside over the case of City of Erieland versus Sean Evans. Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will start with the prosecution. Will you take this opportunity to introduce yourselves on behalf of the prosecution?
Hi, my name is Courtney White. This is my co-counsel, Angela Sala. We have Taylor Optrix playing Chris Reyes, Kyra Shaw playing Corey Rogers, and Angel Sheely playing Amari Washington.
Thank you. And on behalf of the defense?
My name is Danielle Crosby. This is my co-counsel, John Little, Alian Abernathy, Miracle, Marissa Blackman, Genesis Merritt will be playing the medical examiner. Jay Inslee will be playing Jesse Donaldson, and Serenity will be playing Sean Evans.
Wonderful. And of course, I always tell people the most important person in the room is the court reporter or the timekeeper. Hello, timekeeper. And if you will take this opportunity to introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Adam McGarrett, and I'll be the bailiff for the prosecution today.
Well, wonderful. I certainly appreciate you, and I know that you will make sure that you keep up with the time, okay?
To the best of my ability.
You're going to do the best job ever. I appreciate you. Just give me the high sign, and I'll go up. Time's up. All right. On behalf of the City of Erieland, would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And keeping in mind, opening statements are not evidence. They are basically an opportunity for each side to tell their story of what they believe the evidence will show.
May it please the court. Your Honor, this case is about exploitation. Today we are in court because Sean Evans has been charged with aggravated murder and involuntary manslaughter and felonious assault for the three victims, Gordon Liu, Aaliyah Chadwick, and Officer Chris Reyes. Sean Evans exploited the children and adults that were involved in his righteous ones. Sean Evans used his power to convince these people that they were joining the group to better their community and fight social injustices that this group of people was going through. They didn't think they would end up in a shootout with police supporting violence. Through the testimony of a Righteous One member, Amari Washington will allow us to see they joined to be safe and better the community. They didn't think they'd be getting involved in a violent militant group. On July 23rd of 2018, a shootout happened between Erieland Police Department and the Righteous One. There is back and forth about who took the first shot, but even with that in place, Sean Evans is still guilty. With Officer Chris Reyes' testimony, we will show that she was doing just a simple traffic assignment when shots were fired from the Evans home. During the incident, Officer Reyes and Gordon Liu were shot on the scene. Reyes was even approached and shot at by the defendant himself. With Corey Rogers' testimony, we will see that Rogers witnessed many members purchasing weapons and even spoke to Evans about how Evans was ready for a war with police and that the Righteous One was all about fighting with violence. Lastly, we will have the testimony of Amari Washington, which will show that Amari joined this group thinking they were bettering the community. Instead, they were met with violence. She will give us insight on the day in question and has even provided Exhibit 3 pictures of the weapons Sean had been practicing with. In the cross of Sean Evans, we will see that Evans openly admits to arming themselves because of the police and who had also admitted to shooting at Officer Reyes. With Jesse Donaldson's testimony, we will see that Evans had brainwashed him into believing that being armed and strong against the police was just keeping peace. In the cross of Jordan Mitchell, we could show that they give an opinion about weapons the victims were shot with and advice about how Officer Reyes should have reacted after being shot. But that is above their credentials. They are a medical examiner, not an expert on guns or a trauma doctor. In the law, no person should knowingly cause or attempt to cause physical harm to another by means of a deadly weapon or dangerous ordnance. If the victim is a peace officer, felonious assault is a felony of the first degree. Sean Evans knowingly shot Officer Chris Reyes with a shotgun, causing him to be guilty of felonious assault. And even if Sean did not kill anyone himself, due to the felony that he was committing during this time, Aaliyah Chadwick and Gordon Liu death is on him, causing him to be guilty of murder. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The burden is on prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, and we will do that today. Your Honor, I pray you listen closely to the facts of the case and see the real type of person that Sean Evans is and convict him. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the defense,
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. May it please the court. My name is Miracle Harris. And when you go to an art museum and you look at famous paintings such as the Mona Lisa, you don't just look at any one part of the picture. You take in the careful brushstrokes of the paintbrush, the haunting look in her eyes. In order to truly understand and appreciate it, you must look at the painting in its entirety. That is what is required here at court today. I am honored to represent Sean Evans, an Iraqi war veteran and leader of the community service group, The Righteous Ones. You will learn about Sean risking her life to protect this country, and in the process discovering that if you want real change, you must do it with the community at your side. Sean has worked tirelessly to deal with the unemployment, crime, hopelessness, fear, violence, and distrust of the police that exist in her neighborhood today. On the evening of July 23, 2019, a gun battle broke out. During this unfortunate incident, 2 people were killed and another was wounded. The prosecution will have you believe that Sean is at fault for these injuries. However, they are only showing you one part of the picture. They aren't showing you that their witness, Chris Reyes, is a drunk police officer who claims that he saw Sean take aim and fire at him. But Reyes also admits to being in a state of shock. In addition, he is unable to view this incident with a clear picture as he confuses it with the tragic death of his brother. Then there's Amari Washington, a Righteous One member who was herself present during the shootings. She is only testifying because of the charges of arson and first-degree murder that are against her. She is only interested in her own well-being. And then there's Corey Rogers. He has no relevant evidence in this case, and if we're being honest, people like Corey Rogers have been rooting against successful women like Sean Evans for years. Today, on our side, you will hear from Jesse Donaldson, a trusted member of the Righteous Ones group, who will testify that Sean is a leader in their community. And despite the prosecution's best effort to paint her as a violent and militant person, she's actually a peacekeeper who has seen the effects of war and would never want to bring it to her own community. And then there's Jordan Mitchell, a medical examiner from Ireland. She will tell you that all victims were shot with different guns from different angles. Your Honor, the prosecution has the burden of proof today. The only thing they will prove is that the city of Ireland is against women who risk their lives protecting the very people who are in this courtroom today. They are against women who care for their community and who take every step possible to make their community a good community. Your Honor, I ask that you remember Mona Lisa and also take in the fact that my client is not an octopus, nor is she a magician. She can't fire different guns from different angles with different weapons. So with that being said, remembering Mona Lisa, I hope that you find Sean Evans not guilty on all charges. Thank you, Your Honor.
on behalf of the prosecution, call your first witness.
Then I would like to call Officer Chris Reyes to the stand. May I proceed?
Absolutely.
Can you state your name for the court?
My name is Chris Reyes.
And what is your occupation?
I have been a police officer for 21 years at Erie-Land.
What do you do now?
I'm assigned on traffic duties to since recently.
Do you have any background with the law?
Yes, due to the fact that my mother was a prosecutor, my dad was also a police officer.
When did you start becoming involved with guns?
I started becoming involved in guns once my brother had a tragic death and being shot, and I was starting to get introduced and interested on how to use them properly and safely.
On July 23rd of 2018, how did you start your day?
I started out the day as very slow, and I called the headquarters to see if they had an assignment for me, which they did, of a 2015 Cadillac being abandoned on the street.
After you stopped on the abandoned car, what did you do?
After looking through and to see if I had found any owner of the car around the area, I took it to the car and I called the tow truck and waited for that.
After you called the tow truck, where did you go?
After I called the tow truck driver and they told me that they were very busy with all the other calls that they had, I had to wait it out. So I just went to the Lakefront Tavern to eat dinner.
What are you being accused of?
I am being accused of being intoxicated on the job.
Is this accusation correct?
No, it's not correct. It was just one measly old beer, and I know how to handle myself with alcohol with one beer.
When did the tow truck arrive?
After I got done with my dinner, the tow truck driver arrived around dusk.
And what happened after that?
After I seen that he was a regular guy, no guns being carried, was in a man in uniform as a tow truck driver, and he started to tow the truck. And after that, the gun started to fire.
What happened next?
Later on, I soon to find out that the tow truck driver, Gordon Liu, he had got shot, and I soon to find out after he went to the hospital, he died. And after that, I got shot in the back.
What did you do to get away?
I started a fire at the door in the direction of the guns that was being fired at me, and I tried to crawl myself away to safety.
What happened to your gun?
During the midst of everything, I dropped my gun, and I never found it after that.
When you were walking away, what did you encounter?
While walking away, I encountered a man with a rifle, and he asked me, was I one of the SOBs that was still in the cars?
So later on, when you went to Erie Hospital, what did you find out?
Later on, as soon as I was getting treated, I later found out that Sean Evans was the man that shot me.
Getting shot in the back reminded you of what?
Getting shot in the back reminded me of the day my brother got shot and killed, and he was with a group of friends. And I'm not the one to say that his friend group was bad, but he had one person in particular, Carl. He was very hothead, and he liked to get into altercations with people. And they was at a simple gas station when this happened, and my brother was inside getting snacks for himself, and Carl was getting an altercation with another driver, and he thought my brother was sneaking up on him, but my brother was just going out to get a car, and he got shot.
Can you tell us the difference between Sean Evans' Righteous One groups and other groups like the Black Panthers?
With the Righteous Ones and Sean Evans as the leader, their group always trying to say they want to improve their community, but they're always blaming on others.
What's the basis for your objection?
Lack of knowledge. This person does not have an expert opinion to actually prove the difference between the Black Panthers and the Righteous Ones. This person has no grounds of knowledge.
The objection is sustained.
Okay. What are you and the police trying to do?
We were just trying to keep peace and do our jobs and stop the violence.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Hi, I'm going to here ask you a couple yes or no questions. If you can answer them yes or no, please do so. Is it true that you drank July 23rd, 2018?
Yes, one measly beer.
Is it true that after drinking off of the clock, you returned on duty?
Yes, I returned on duty.
It's a fact that after this drink, sorry. It's also a fact that you do not witness Aaliyah Chadwick get shot.
No, I did not witness Leah Chapman get shot, but I heard that she has got shot and killed.
But you didn't see it, correct?
No, I did not personally witness this. Throughout the chaos of things, me being shot in my back, I tried to retreat to safety.
It was a yes or no question. Yes or no?
And I answered yes.
During the gunfight, no, sorry, not that question. Your shot wound was in the back also, right?
Yes, I got shot in my back.
However, isn't it true that your brother got shot in the back also?
Yes, and he got killed, yes.
On behalf of the defense, you ask the witness to answer either yes or no, true or false to your questions. Please remind the witness to answer yes or no, true or false.
Was the answer yes or no?
Yes.
In your statements, you say you were luckier than Jules. Is this correct?
Yes, because I was able to retreat to safety and I was able to get help, but he wasn't.
In your statement, you also compared Sean and the Righteous Ones to the friend that killed your brothers. Is that true?
Yes.
Weren't you in shock after this wound?
I was in pain and shock of being in the chaos of things, yes.
No further questions, Ron?
You may step down. On behalf of City of Erieland, do you have another witness?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call Corey Rogers to the stand. May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
Please state your name and occupation for the court.
My name is Corey Rogers, and I work for the Counterintelligence Division of the FBI.
And can you tell the court what your job consists of?
My division targets hate groups and nationalists, and my job is to cooperate with local police departments to help prevent nationalists from causing disturbances in South Erie-Land and its suburbs.
All right. Now, what did you get your bachelor's degree in?
I received a dual bachelor's degree in intelligence studies and national security from Point Park University.
And what did you do after these accomplishments?
After graduating, I accepted a job offer from the Chicago Division of the Drug Enforcement Agency.
All right. What is your agency responsible for?
My agency was responsible for the collection, analysis, and the dissemination of drug-related intelligences.
Can you tell us where you went in 2008?
In 2008, I was transferred to Kentucky to track a group called the Nation of Islam.
All right. And what have you been doing since 2011?
Since 2011, I moved to Erie-Land, Ohio to track hate groups and nationalists.
All right. And altogether, can you tell us how long you've been doing this?
I have been doing this profession for 18 years.
All right, Your Honor, I would like to tender this witness as an expert in intelligence and national security, as well as focusing on nationalists and hate groups.
Any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
The witness will be qualified as an expert.
All right. So, in your expert opinion, how would you classify the righteous ones?
The Righteous Ones is a group of young people that are unorganized and unruly.
And why do you feel this way?
Because when they congregate, they drink, they smoke, and they discuss their hatred for the police department.
Okay, can you tell us who the leader of the righteous ones?
The leader of the Righteous Ones is Sean Evans.
Okay, and what do they refer to themselves as?
They refer to themselves as nationalists and soldiers.
Okay. Can you tell us where they typically meet and what activities do they engage in?
They typically meet at 21321 Chestnut Avenue, and they typically engage in criminal activities such as petty theft, drug dealing, and lower level felonies.
All right. Have you ever personally witnessed a Righteous One member purchase any form of weapon?
Yes, I have witnessed Righteous One members purchase 8 assault rifles, 3 AR-15 pistols, and a countless number of handguns.
All right. Can you tell the court what you saw on July 14th?
On July 14th, I saw 2 cars with out-of-state license plates pull up to 21321 Chestnut Avenue, and I watched Sean Evans and 2 of her men help carry 2 large crates into her house. Now, the contents of the crates were never discovered. However, the license plates linked back to a group that were known for weapons dealing back in Pennsylvania.
All right, and the contents of those crates are unknown because of the house being burned down, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and with your level of expertise, what can you conclude about the house being burned down after the incident that occurred July 23rd?
I believe that the house being burnt down was just a way for them to cover up evidence. Objection.
What's the basis for your objection?
This witness is not an expert on arson or any fire or anything along those lines.
Well, unfortunately, your objection is not very timely. She already answered the question after your objection, but noted. Had she raised the objection prior to her answer, it would have been sustained.
All
Please
right.
continue.
Thank you. When speaking to Evans, what intel did you gain?
When I talked to Evans, he said that he predicted that there will be blood on the streets of Erie-Land.
All right, and what else did he tell you?
He also told me that the police better think twice before coming for them.
Was there anything else you'd add?
That he would meet force with force.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination? And counselor who raised the objection, why didn't you object to what the prosecution asked as it relates to the statements made by the defendant?
What was your question?
When the prosecution asked the witness about the statements made by the defendant, you didn't object to that. Why?
I mean, it was in her witness statement.
Does anyone know why? Yes,
Hearsay.
But she spoke directly to him.
correct. Because it's the defendant's statement. And remember, when you read your rights, anything you say can be used against you in the court of law. So that was the defendant's statement, so you wouldn't be able to object to that. Cross-examination.
My name is Danielle Crosby, and I'm going to be asking you a series of yes and no questions, and I ask that you answer accordingly.
Okay.
You've been surveilling the Righteous Ones for years, haven't you?
Yes,
And you consider them a hate group, right?
I consider them nationalists.
But you also consider them undisciplined and loosely organized, right?
That is correct.
You surveilled the Righteous Ones on July 14th of 2018.
Yes.
You testified that they were given crates, right?
Yes, I watched crates be delivered to their house.
Okay. But you never could identify what was in the crates, right?
That is correct.
And when you tried to get a warrant on Sean's home, you didn't get the warrant, did you?
No, because there wasn't any evidence since the house was burned down.
So there wasn't enough evidence for a warrant.
Correct.
Let's shift to the night of July 23rd. You weren't at the scene of the crime, were you?
No.
In your witness statement, you testified that the fact that the police were drunk was ludicrous, right?
Yes, because I know the police personally. I work with them on a daily basis. I can't imagine them being drunk on the job.
But you don't know if they were drunk or not, do you?
What does that have to do with anything?
Do you know if they were drunk or not? Yes or no?
I can't imagine them being drunk.
But you don't know if they were drunk.
Have the witness answer yes or no.
So you don't know if the police were drunk, do you?
No,
Yes
but
or no. Have the witness answer yes or no. Direct the witness to answer yes or no. It's your witness. It's cross-examination. You've asked the witness a question. Ask the witness answer yes or no, whether or not she has firsthand knowledge as to whether or not the police officer was intoxicated, yes or no.
So do you know if the police officers were drunk, yes or no?
What police officers?
At the scene of the crime.
No.
One of those officers at the scene of the crime was Officer Reyes, and you worked with him in the Erie Police Department for years, haven't you?
That is correct.
And you hold the police department to a high standard, don't you?
That is correct.
And you wouldn't want to see these upstanding officers get in trouble, would you?
Get in trouble.
You wouldn't want to see them look bad, would you? Yes or no?
Of course not.
No further questions.
You may step down. Call your next witness.
I'd like to call Murray Washington to the stand.
Please proceed.
Can you state your name?
My name is Amari Washington.
And how old are you and what school do you attend?
I am 18 years old and I go to Riverdale High School.
What kind of student are you?
Although I don't really like school, I'm an average student with a 2.5 GPA.
And what activities do you like to do?
I really don't like to engage in school activities because I don't find them relevant to my community. So,
Are you involved in anything specific?
yes, 2 years ago I joined the Righteous Ones.
And can you tell us what this is?
It is a community-based group that focuses on uplifting the community through social justice.
Why did you join this group?
Well, as a black female in my community, I have seen friends and family and even myself have been frisked by the police for no reason. And I felt like the Righteous Ones understood what it's like to be me in my community.
Who is the leader of this group?
Sean Evans.
And did you oppose anything Sean did?
I did actually. He believed in militancy against the police.
Why did you disagree?
I don't believe in violence. I like peaceful protesting.
What did you believe Sean to be?
I believed him to be the type of person to meet violence with violence.
And what happened a couple weeks before the shootout happened?
I was at his house and he had a pile of crates inside the basement.
What was in the crates?
I'm not really sure.
Did Sean and members carry guns?
Yes, he owned a handgun along with some other big guns, and so did the other members.
Now, moving on to the day in question. What happened the morning of July 23rd of 2018?
We were called to a meeting at his house.
And what was the meeting for?
We were preparing for a shootout with the police.
Can you explain what y'all did during the weapon practice?
Sean taught us how to load and unload weapons.
And, Your Honor, I would like to introduce what has been previously marked as Exhibit 3. Let the record show that I'm showing opposing counsel a clean, unmarked copy.
Proceed.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Can you look at this? Can you tell me what that is?
This is a photo that I took of the rifles that Sean was teaching us how to load and unload.
And why did you take these pictures?
I felt like it was cool. It was like a nice photo.
What happened later that night at 8 p.m.?
At 8 p.m., Sean and some other members, they left out, and I overheard them in another room talking about somebody pulling up in a tow truck with a uniform on, and that some more police had showed up.
And what happened about 15 minutes later?
15 minutes later, I heard the first gunshots.
How did you react?
I dropped to the floor and I crawled to the back door and I left out.
Do you know why?
I was terrified for my life.
What did you do after?
I didn't talk to anybody about what happened.
Why?
I wasn't sure if like the police had started it and they were going to come after me, or if the righteous ones started it and they were going to come after me for running.
Can you tell us some of the events that happened?
I later learned that Aaliyah Chadwick and a tow truck driver had been killed and a police officer had been wounded.
When did you come forward to the police?
In September, the police came to me with arson accusations, and I had so much on my mind that I decided to come clean about what happened in July.
Why were you charged with arson and first-degree murder?
There was someone at my school who told the police that I had burned down a church, a fish market, and a abandoned building and killed a 68-year-old man.
Why weren't you indicted?
There wasn't enough evidence.
How do you feel about these accusations?
Personally, I am hurt that...
Your Honor, objection. I don't know what these accusations have to do with the case here today.
Objection is sustained.
Why did you decide to testify today?
I believe that this testimony today will show people that I am not a murderer. If you spend like 5 minutes with me, you will know that I am not a person who condones violence. I believe in peaceful resistance.
What hand did Sean have in this?
Even if Sean wasn't the person who shot the people that were killed, he was the one who armed us with the weapons, taught us how to shoot them, and told us how to approach violence.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Good morning. I'm going to be asking you a series of yes or no questions today. To the extent that you can, please answer in a yes or no fashion. When you met with Sean Evans, you say that you were impressed by their vision for the community, correct?
Yes, I
Thank you. That's all I need. But as you grew to know him, you realized what a violent person he was, right?
He used very militant tactics.
Yes or no,
yes.
please? Thank you.
Yes.
Was he a violent person? Okay, thank you. In your statement, you repeatedly say that you don't condone violence, right?
That is correct.
You knew that Sean carried guns, correct?
Yes, a handgun and other
Thank you.
rifles.
When you answered the call to gather at Sean Evans' house, he told you to prepare for a shootout. Is this correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Yet you still decided to show up at the house, right?
Yes.
You even stayed through the practice of learning how to use a weapon.
That is correct.
So in your witness statement, you said that you don't condone violence, right?
That is correct.
So you saw the signs of Sean being a violent person. You knew that he carried guns, and you still stayed in the Righteous Ones group.
Because I.
Yes or no? Did you or did you not stay in the Righteous Ones group?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. In addition, you have violent charges of arson and first-degree murder against you, right?
There's no evidence to convict me.
But are they violent crimes?
Yes.
Thank you. Is it true that you waited a while to tell the police about the evening of July 23rd?
Yes, because I was scared.
Thank you. That's all I needed. You told the police about this evening on the same night they came to tell you about the arson and first-degree murder charges you had against you, correct?
Yes, because it
Thank
was
you.
burdening on
You
my
say you
family.
joined the Righteous Ones because you wanted to uplift your community?
Yes.
Are the police not a part of your community? Yes or no is fine.
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down. Any other witnesses on behalf of the city of Erieland? Any other witnesses on behalf of the city of Erieland? Do you rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're resting subject to the admission of your exhibit, the photograph?
Yes.
Wonderful. Normally in a regular trial, what would occur would be a motion for Rule 29. A motion for Rule 29 would be on behalf of the defense. They would basically say that based upon the witnesses, the evidence presented by the prosecution, that they basically haven't met the burden of proof at this time and that the court should dismiss the case because you haven't met your burden of proof. So that's what would happen in a normal criminal trial. But since this is a mock trial, we're going to skip that part. And if the judge felt like that the prosecution hadn't met its burden, then the judge could dismiss the case. Okay, so we're not doing that here. So now on behalf of the defense, are you ready to proceed? Call your first witness.
The defense would like to call Sean Evans instead.
May I proceed?
Yes, please.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is Sean Evans, but to my people, I'm Sean Ali.
And please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I volunteered for the Army at a young age, and I am the de facto leader of the Righteous Ones. I also own a bookstore in Riverdale.
Can you tell me more about your bookstore?
In this bookstore, we sell books to teach people about their culture and their history. We also sell African imports and groceries and homemade meals.
And why did you start the Righteous Ones?
I started the Righteous Ones because I went to the Army to defend and protect my country, but my community was still in ruins. I returned to see so much hopelessness and poverty and crime and hopelessness that I really wanted to help my community.
And what kind of activities do the Righteous Ones take part in?
We usually meet at my home. We rap, we talk politics, we watch the news. We really believe in political and economical empowerment.
Okay, taken to the day of July 23rd of 2018. What did you do that morning?
Oh, I'm sorry. On the morning of July 23rd, I was beginning to feel really uncomfortable with all of the police watch. So I called a meeting with the community leaders, and I called them to my home, and I voiced my concerns about all of the police watching us, and I asked them if they would call some of the police off.
And what were your plans for that evening?
For the evening, after the police were never called off, I was beginning to feel really like a sitting duck in my home, so I decided that me and some of my brothers and sisters would go to the tavern.
And what happened while you were on your way to the Lakefront Tavern?
On the way to the tavern, when I left with Aaliyah and some of my other brothers and sisters, I grabbed my rifle. I had no shotgun, only a rifle. I grabbed my rifle and I began to walk out of the house with Aaliyah. And while I was walking, I heard some gunshots coming from the east. I turned and I saw an officer laying on the ground with a gun pointed towards us. He began to open fire, and Aaliyah went down. So I ran to a yard to take cover, and I began to shoot back, but I didn't get a clear shot, and then my gun jammed.
And what happened after your gun jam?
After my gun jammed, I hid behind a bush to try to unjam my gun, but I couldn't unjam it, so I ran to my friend's house on Lakefront. I ran into her attic. I told her to call the police and tell them I surrender.
Did the police ever come?
The police never came.
Would you ever purposely start a war with the police?
I would never purposely start a war with the police because I've seen the aftermaths of war on countries, and I would never do that to my own community.
And why do you think you're being accused of these crimes?
I believe I'm being accused of these crimes because I am a woman trying to make a difference in my community.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, please.
All right. Isn't it true that you are the de facto leader of the righteous ones?
Yes.
All right. Furthermore, you opened a bookstore with the intention of introducing your African history and culture to the community, yes?
Yes.
All right. However, this establishment was shut down 3 times for sanitary violations, correct?
Yes.
You would also agree that although there have been shipments and imports being delivered to your store, right?
Yes.
All right. And a few days before the gunfire, boxes and imports were delivered to your house, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You can agree that the police believed your crates and shipments are filled with guns and weapons, correct?
Yes.
And this is because you and your group have been known to purchase dangerous and lethal weapons, correct?
Legally, yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Isn't it true that your group has been called a militant group?
To some people, yes.
All right. I would like to present what has been previously marked as Exhibit 3.
Please.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Isn't this an exhibit of an image of your lethal weapons?
Yes.
However, you state that you bought these weapons for sole purpose of self-defense, correct?
Yes.
Self-defense against the police.
That is correct.
All right. You would agree, however, that you represent and hold distrust for the police, correct?
Yes.
All right. The slow violence of neglect and bigotry, from the police makes you angry and upset that you want to explode, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you are not afraid to be violent towards the police if needed to get your point across, correct?
In self-defense, yes.
All right. Isn't it true that the police are always watching you?
Yes.
Okay. And this is because they feel they have reason to suspect that you are doing illegal actions, correct?
What's the basis of your objection?
That's causing the witness to speculate. She doesn't know why the police are watching.
The objection is sustained.
All right, I'll move on to my next question. Let's see. Let's talk about the night in question, July 23rd. You claim the police are watching you in your house from unmarked cars, correct?
Yes.
All right. I would like to present what has been previously marked as Exhibit 1C.
Show it to the defense.
Does the record show this is a clean and unmarked copy? Okay. This exhibit shows your house, correct?
Yes.
21231 Chestnut Avenue, correct?
Yes.
All right. You decided to leave your house and head to this tavern, right?
Yes.
And that is the circle on the map, correct?
Yes.
All right. You felt this way because you were feeling anxious that the police were watching you, correct?
Yes.
All right. You took your rifle with you to this tavern, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you mean to tell me that you're walking into a tavern surrounded by alcohol was your plan with a rifle?
Yes.
All right. But as you were walking, you heard gunshots, correct?
Yes.
And you began shooting toward the person across from you, correct?
Yes.
and you consciously knew in the moment this individual was a police officer.
He was shooting at me. I feared for my life.
He
Yes,
was a
I shot
police
at him.
officer, correct?
Yes.
All right. Isn't it true that the police officer was injured later?
Yes.
All right. And a few seconds later, Aaliyah Chadwick, a member of the Righteous Ones, fell to the ground dead, correct?
Yes.
All right. Another individual who died in the gunfire was a tow truckman, right?
So I'm told, yes.
All right. And you agree that you were an active shooter in this gunfire, correct?
Yes.
And you are currently being charged with 2 accounts of first-degree murder, right?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down. Call your next witness.
The defense would like to call Jesse Donaldson to the stand.
You may proceed.
Please state your name to the court.
Jesse Donaldson.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a part of the Righteous Ones group.
Why did you join the Righteous Ones?
I joined the Righteous Ones because I was looking for a group that believes that defending the members of our community is just as important as empowering its members.
How well do you know Sean Evans?
Sean Evans is the leader of the Righteous Ones.
Explain you and Sean's relationship.
I love Sean. Sean not only cares for us, but she's also a leader and a soldier, the 2 most important components. Sean also taught us to never fear the police, but always be prepared, and that is why I'm not afraid of the police now. Sometimes Sean suffers of paranoia, but regardless, she is a great leader.
When are you guys not worried about the police?
Whenever we're not on surveillance, usually we're at Sean's place, playing cards, talking about astrology, or even discussing new ways to make our community better.
Have the Righteous Ones have any encounters with the police?
No, we have not. But the police are always following us around, waiting for us to do something wrong. They make us feel like hardcore criminals. I don't understand why they target Sean.
Can you explain to the court what happened the morning of July 23rd?
The morning of July 23rd, a small group of us gathered at Sean's place. Sean was in one of her moods, freaking about unmarked cars filled with policemen, and I just didn't understand why. But I did after I looked outside, because they had binoculars and they were looking through our windows.
Did you see Officer Reyes that day?
I did, but something seemed a little bit off about that police officer. When she went to ticket a caddy, she came back later, and she seemed a little unsteady on her feet. Look, I'm not the only one who thinks that she looked drunk. Apparently, through the grapevine, I heard that she was knocking back beers at the tavern.
Did you see... I'm sorry. Where were you at 7:30 p.m.?
Around 7:30 p.m., Sean told me to go stand on the corner of Lakefront and Chestnut and Lakefront Avenue. Then he also told my fellow sister of the group, Aaliyah Chadwick, to take post across the street near the abandoned Cadillac. I didn't worry too much because Sean said that she'll be right behind us.
What did you see while you were on the corner?
On the corner at dusk, I saw a tow truck driver back up to the abandoned Cadillac.
What did you hear?
I couldn't hear anything because someone's weapon started to fire.
Then what happened?
Then I saw the tow truck driver go down and more shots started to fire.
When was the last time you seen Aaliyah Chadwick?
The last time I saw Aaliyah Chadwick was when she was going to Sean's place, running toward Sean's place. That was the last time I seen her alive anyway.
Did you see her get shot or wounded?
No, I did not. I was too busy taking cover for myself.
Do you believe Sean Evans, the defendant today, is guilty?
No, I do not.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
May I proceed?
Proceed.
You agree that you are a Righteous One member, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So your leader is Sean Evans, right? All
You
right.
said yes, sir?
Yes.
And your leader, Sean, has purchased many rifles and ammunition, correct?
For intended purposes, yes.
If you can, please stick to yes or no.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to present what has been previously marked as Exhibit 3.
Yes.
Okay, this is an image of Sean's weapons, correct?
Correct.
Okay, wouldn't you agree that Sean has experience with handling these weapons, correct?
Correct.
All right, and wouldn't you agree that he has experience with killing in using these weapons to kill?
No.
No? Okay. With his experience in Iraq, do you believe that he has experience to kill with these weapons?
Exemption, she wasn't in Iraq with Sean Evans.
I didn't get a chance to ask you what was the basis of your objection. I don't do talking objections. I'll just ask you what's the basis, and then you tell me.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You made an objection. What's the basis for your objection?
She was not in Iraq with Sean Evans.
So what's the legal basis for your objection?
Personal knowledge. Lack of personal knowledge, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't remember that in the rules of evidence. Lack of personal knowledge. Overruled.
All right.
Because you haven't given me a legal basis, so it's overruled. You have to actually come up with the right answer for me to rule in your favor. Proceed.
Okay. You must agree that Sean is fully capable of injuring or even killing individuals with weapons. Is this correct?
Yes.
And Sean has positioned armed guards in front of his house ready to attack at any given moment, correct?
For intended purposes, yes.
Wouldn't you agree that the righteous ones were considered by some hardcore criminals?
By some, yes.
All right. Now let's talk about the night in question, July 23rd. Your Honor, I would like to present Exhibit 1C. May I proceed?
Yes?
You agree that this is a map of the area of the shootout, correct?
Correct.
On this night, you were standing guard at the corner of Chestnut and Lakefront Avenue, correct? Right? I said that already. And you saw Officer Reyes at the rectangle on this map, correct?
Correct.
Isn't it also true that at this rectangle, there was an abandoned Cadillac that Officer Reyes was ticketing, correct?
Correct.
Next, a tow truck man came to the scene of the Cadillac next, correct?
Correct.
And then he got out of his truck and began speaking to Officer Reyes, who was standing in front of the car.
Correct.
Furthermore, at the same time, you saw Sean Evans and a Righteous One member, Aaliyah Chadwick, exit Sean's house.
Could you clarify?
When you saw Officer Reyes standing in front of the Cadillac truck, you also said you saw Aaliyah Chadwick and another Righteous One member leaving Sean's house, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Aaliyah was then dispatched by Sean to stand guard by the Cadillac, correct?
Correct.
Sean then left her and headed off into a direction away from the Cadillac, correct?
Correct.
And you said you meet up with her later, correct?
Correct.
Then suddenly, someone began firing a weapon. Is that true?
That's true.
All right. And immediately, the tow truck driver next to the Cadillac was shot down, correct?
Yes.
And Aaliyah Chadwick, who was near the Cadillac as well, was also shot. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I would like to present Exhibit 2B.
Proceed. Proceed.
Okay. This is an image of Officer Reyes' gunshots wound, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you will agree, Officer Reyes, who was also by the Cadillac, was also injured.
Yes.
So you must agree, someone was shooting towards the police and the people who were standing by the Cadillac, correct?
I assume so, yes.
So you agree that the individual who was not near the Cadillac was most likely the shooter, correct?
Correct.
As being further away from the cars allows them to aim and shoot toward those individuals, correct?
Time's up.
All right, Your Honor, no further questions.
You may step down.
Thank
I
you.
apologize. Medical examiner?
Your Honor, at this time, we'll have to call the individual to the stand. state your name for the court?
My name is Jordan Mitchell.
And can you please state your occupation?
I am a medical examiner for the city of Erie.
And how long have you been a medical examiner?
Well, I've been a medical examiner for approximately 10 years.
And can you tell us about some of your educational background?
Well, I attended Buckeye State University and got my pre-med dual in biology and chemistry. I also received my bachelor degree of science there as well. In 2004, I graduated and went to Johns Hopkins University, one of the top national centers that deal with lab examination and pathology.
And what is pathology?
Did my 4-year residency in the Department of Pathology.
And what is pathology?
Pathology is the lab examination of injuries.
And what type of pathologies have you done?
Well, I've worked in many types of pathology, such as forensic, surgical, anatomical, and clinical pathology.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to establish this witness as the expert witness in forensic and clinical pathology.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
The witness is classified as an expert in the area of forensic pathology.
And how are you involved in this case today?
Well, on July 23rd, things were going a little slow in my department, so I decided to go to the trauma department, and there I examined Aaliyah Chadwick, Gordon Liu, and Officer Chris Reyes.
Now, can you start off by telling us the injuries of Aaliyah Chadwick?
Yes. Aaliyah Chadwick had 2 gunshot wounds, one in the upper left torso and one in the upper abdomen.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to introduce Exhibit 2C. Let the record reflect down showing counsel.
No objection, Your Honor.
May I approach the witness?
Yes, please.
Now, can you just give me a basic explanation of what this is?
Well, these are the location of gunshot wounds for Aaliyah Chadwick. She had 2 entrance wounds from the front in her upper left torso and upper abdomen, and 2 exit wounds in the back in her upper left torso and upper abdomen.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Your Honor, we move to evidence.
So moved.
Now, and what weapon do you believe Mrs. Chadwick was shot with?
I believe, in my expert opinion, that Aaliyah Chadwick was shot with a handgun or a rifle.
Now let's move on to Gordon Liu. Can you tell us the injuries of Mr. Liu?
Mr. Liu had 1 gunshot wound in the torso.
Your Honor, at this time, we would like to introduce Exhibit 2A. Let the record reflect on showing counsel.
No objection, Your Honor.
May I approach the witness?
Proceed.
Now, once again, can you just give me a basic explanation of what that is?
This is the location of the gunshot wounds for Gordon Liu. There's 1 entrance wound found from the front and no exit wounds found.
Okay. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
We move to have this put in evidence.
So moved.
And what weapon do you believe he was shot with?
I believe that he was shot with a shotgun.
And lastly but not least, can you explain Officer Reyes' injuries?
Officer Reyes was shot in the back.
Okay, Your Honor, at this time, I would like to introduce Exhibit 2B. Let the record reflect on showing counsel.
No objection, Your Honor.
May I approach the witness?
Proceed.
Now, one more time for us, can you just give me a basic explanation of what this is?
Yes. This is the location of gunshot wounds for Chris Reyes. It's a picture of him shot in the back and an entrance wound.
We move to have this put in evidence. Okay.
So moved.
So, in your expert opinion, what type of weapon was Mr. Reyes shot with?
Mr. Reyes, in my expert opinion, was shot with a shotgun.
And are there any repercussions from this type of injury?
Well, injuries like the ones suffered from Chris Reyes, they tend to go into a state of shock, which can lead them to see or hear things differently.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes.
All right. As a medical examiner, isn't it true you are very skilled in treating gunshot wounds?
Yes, I've published 8 articles on it.
And you are skillfully able to identify the type of gunshot wound as well, correct?
Yes.
And on the night of the shooting, July 23rd of 2018, you were working in the trauma department at Erie Hospital, correct?
Yes.
Officer Reyes, Jordan Liu, and Aaliyah Chadwick was brought into the emergency room this night, correct?
Yes, they were.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce what has been previously marked as Exhibit 2C.
Proceed.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
You want this for me?
Thank you.
This is the image of the gunshot wounds sustained by Aaliyah Chadwick, correct?
Yes.
And because the bullets hit important organs such as the spine and other internal organs, Aaliyah died, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that projectile weapons such as rifles or handguns can leave more concentrated wounds upon impact?
Yes.
And upon analysis of your autopsy of Miss Chadwick, you found that she sustained more concentrated wounds, correct?
Yes, I did.
So you agree her injury had to be caused by a rifle, correct? A rifle or a handgun, correct?
Yes, a rifle or a handgun.
Now can you look at Exhibit 3? You agree this is a photo of the rifles that are registered to Sean Evans, correct?
It looks that way.
Objection.
What's the basis for your objection?
Lack of knowledge. The witness doesn't know anything about the guns that they just presented.
Do you know anything about firearms? Yes or no?
Not this picture.
Do you know anything about firearms in general? You're a forensic, you're a doctor. Do you know anything about firearms?
Yes.
You do? Wow. The objection is overruled. Ask away. She knows about firearms.
Sean's rifle is capable of causing concentrated wounds such as the ones Miss Chadwick sustained, yes?
Yes.
And in your expert opinion, you must agree we cannot rule out the possibility that Sean's rifle could have shot Aaliyah, correct?
Well, it's not my job to determine who shot who.
But it is possible that
But that's not
Sean's
my
rifle was the cause of her wound.
It could have been anybody.
May you answer yes or no?
No, it could have been anybody.
I didn't say did Sean shoot her. I said did Sean's rifle could have been the cause.
Objection. Objection.
What's the basis for your objection?
The question was already asked and answered.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Thank you.
I've never met a forensic doctor or pathologist that knew about firearms. Okay, nice to meet you, doctor. I'm sorry, that's your witness. She opened the door. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, do you rest subject to the admission of your exhibits? All right, and in a normal trial again, the defense would have the opportunity to renew its motion for Rule 29. And at this juncture, I would deny it. So now we move on to closing arguments. Again, closing arguments are not evidence, but it's statements that the plaintiff or prosecution and the defense believe that the evidence showed. And we will start with the prosecution. Closing arguments, please.
May it please the court. My name is Angela Sala, and as promised earlier in the case, my co-counsel and I have brought to you a case about exploitation. The three witnesses we brought forth have given you all an insurmountable amount of evidence and facts to prove beyond a reasonable doubt and declare Sean Evans guilty of Ohio's Revised Code 2903.02, which is murder, which states no person shall purposely cause the death of another by means of a deadly weapon or dangerous ordinance, meaning any instrument, device, or thing capable of inflicting death, according to section 2923.11. Evans is to be held responsible for the death of Aaliyah Chadwick, his own follower, and Gordon Lute, an innocent civilian just trying to do his job. And lastly, section 2903.11, felonious assault, which states no person shall knowingly cause or attempt to cause the death of another by means of a deadly weapon or dangerous ordinance. Evans willingly admits to purposely shooting at Officer Reyes, as well as training his followers with the use of arms to go against the police. Your Honor, we pray that you will give justice for those who have died and lost their lives due to a careless group of people and find Sean Evans guilty of all charges. Thank you.
On behalf of the defense.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
During this trial, you've heard two sides of the story, the side of circumstance and the side of the truth. The prosecution today has painted the picture of my client being this monster who loves violence, when in reality that is not the case. My client is quite the contrary. She believes in protecting her community since she just came back from the war. She believes in cultural awareness as she ran a store with books and cultural amenities inside of it. You must also take into account that all the witnesses for the prosecution have ulterior motives, wishing to convict Sean and throw away the key. Chris Reyes, a drunk police officer, claims that he saw Sean take aim and fire at him, but also admits to being in shock after getting shot in the back. In addition to the shock, his older brother Jules was also shot in the back. However, his injury was fatal. Reyes also admits that Sean reminds him of the person responsible for his brother's death. Amari, a former Righteous Ones member on July 23rd and present during the shootings, is testifying to get her charges of arson and first-degree murder cleared. No relevant evidence, and her main interest is her own well-being. Last but not least, there's Corey Rogers. He has also no relevant evidence regarding the night of July 23rd, also labeling them as a hate group when they have no manifesto or of prejudice or targeting of any group, simply self-defense. The Righteous Ones is just a group of people with one ideology, which is not an ideology of hate. Also, the evidence against my client is clearly circumstantial. Now I pose the question, is it right to side with circumstance or to side with the truth? I hope when you are reviewing this trial that you look at the total Mona Lisa as you heard in our opening, that this case is not the monster that the prosecution has painted. This woman is a war veteran who is passionate about protecting her community. Unlike the police's failings to serve or protect this community or this specific group of people, profiling and watching civilians who only wish to protect the community with the same common goals as them. This case was formed off of one brushstroke. However, when we step back to look, the bigger picture is that my client is being framed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now, I don't know what the procedure is, but in a criminal trial, the prosecution has what's called a closing argument, then you hear from the defense, and then the prosecution has what's called a closing close. So I'm unsure as to what your procedure is today, so I don't know if you have an additional close. Yes, sir.
The prosecution has a 2-minute rebuttal.
Okay. 2-minute rebuttal. Anything for rebuttal? Wonderful. Then we are finished. So I think we have a little time here. Am I correct? We have a little time? All right, so let me ask you this. And I'm going to ask for anyone other than the participants as far as the trial. And the audience, let's pretend that you are the jurors. And based upon what was presented to you today, how many of you believe that the city of Erieland met its burden of proof as far as finding Sean Evans guilty of murder? Raise your hand. And that's fine. And I'm going to go back to you. I'm going to start with you actually first. How many of you feel that the city of Erieland failed to meet its burden of proof? Raise your hands. So I'm going to start with you. Please state your name.
I'm Mr. Truppel. I'm the coach for science and medicine.
You don't have to stand up. You're okay. So why do you believe, based upon what you heard here today, why do you believe that the city of Erieland met its burden of proof?
After hearing the testimony of the medical examiner, who was one of the witnesses for the other side, they actually admitted a lot of the evidence that that it was possible, or not possible, but basically likely, that the gun that killed the victims came from Sean Evans, the defendant.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this. In a court of law, there are two types of evidence. Who knows the two types of evidence that come into play?
Circumstantial and direct evidence.
Very good. What is circumstantial evidence? Give me an example.
Basically, like, it's like,
Yeah, come on, that's okay.
Circumstantial evidence is like, basically, you going based off what you thought happened. Like, I can't explain. Like, it's like based off the facts you already know, that's what you're assuming.
You know what? Let me make it easier for you. Circumstantial evidence is what we like to call common sense evidence. Circumstantial evidence is, it allows you to use your common sense or to infer. Let me give you an example. When you go to bed at night, you look out the window, the ground is clear, the grass is clear. You're in Cleveland and it's December. When you wake up in the morning, you're on your way to school, you look out the window, it's covered with white stuff. The ground, the grass, that white stuff is known as snow. Although when you went to bed, it had not snowed, the ground was clear, you can infer that it snowed at some point while you were asleep, because when you woke up in the morning, although you did not see it, common sense tells you it snowed, right? Because no little fairy came out of the sky and just dropped snow on your lawn and the neighbor's lawn. It's all over. It's all over Cleveland. So although you didn't purposely or you didn't personally see it snow, you can infer, or your common sense should tell you, that it snowed. Okay? So that's what you call circumstantial evidence. Direct evidence is actual witness testimony, where someone actually saw something occur. Direct evidence can be a photograph. Direct evidence can be the results of, say, gunshot residue testing. So that's what direct evidence. And under the law, direct evidence and circumstantial evidence, they carry the same weight. One is not better than the other. They carry the same weight. Okay, so that's the difference here. So as it relates to this case, I want you to think about, out of all 6 witnesses who were on the stand, how many of those witnesses actually testified to actually seeing the person who shot Officer Reyes? How many witnesses got on the stand that actually said, I can identify the person that shot Officer Reyes, I can identify the person that shot the tow truck driver, I can identify the person that shot the female? Yes. But just remind me, because I listened very closely. I actually reread this at 10:30 before I came in here. I highlighted it, and I want you to tell me the exact witness or witnesses who got in the witness stand and testified as to actually seeing the person that shot and or killed the 2 people. Who testified to that? I think we already know the answer. Nobody. Okay, so there was not one person, because had that occurred, you know, someone from the witness stand would have pointed to the defendant, Sean Evans. It's like, well, can you identify the person who you saw shoot Officer Reyes? I identify the defendant, he's wearing this. Your Honor, may the record reflect that I've identified that person. So number 1, never had anyone identify the person that shot anyone. Number 2, you never had anything circumstantially to link Sean Evans. It's not like the police arrested him immediately thereafter and he had gunshot residue on his hands or on his clothing. So you don't have him circumstantially. It's not like you have a confession from him. Yeah, I shot that cop. You don't have anything linking Sean Evans to the murder or to the felonious assault. Okay, yes.
Is it open to discussion?
Of course, let's talk. We have time.
And then, like, terms of any particular witness seeing the, obviously the man in trial here, Sean Evans, I believe it was included in the testimony of Chris Race that he could identify the person in the shooting, and then later concluded in his testimony that was Sean Evans.
Which witness was that? I mean, someone places Sean Evans at the scene, but actually saying that Sean Evans was the one that, there was also testimony that the tow truck driver as well as Reyes was shot by gunfire from a rifle, but you still don't have anyone that can actually say that Sean Evans was the person that actually, he was out there shooting, but you don't have anyone that can testify that it was Sean Evans that fired that fatal shot. Just like you didn't have anyone that can come in and testify that Officer Reyes's bullet was the one that killed Ali. Yes. What do you mean, never mind? Talk to me.
You already said what I was thinking, so.
Yeah. I mean, so again, go ahead.
All right. Another point. So, could Sean Evans be found guilty if he was the one who motivated other members of the righteous ones to take the violent actions they did against the police?
I mean, he could be, I guess, charged with inciting violence, but as far as murder, I mean, it's kind of like if someone decided to rob a bank. Now, if we go to that example where they go in and it's Sean, it's Ali, and the other witness, they go in and rob a bank and take, for instance, you know, say Ali, who's actually with Sean Evans and the other people, if Ali was killed then Sean Evans and the other person of the righteous ones, they get away and one of their co-robbers is killed, yeah, they both can be charged with felony murder. Yeah, that's felony murder because it's a murder committed during a felony. They're in the commission of committing a bank robbery, and even though it's one of their co-defendants, oh yeah, they can be charged then. Yes.
Okay, so although Sean, he can't be technically held accountable for the deaths of these people, he's like, the charge of felonious assault, he's still charged with that because he admits that he shot at a police officer. Is that correct or is that not?
Well, you know, he's also alleging self-defense. Remember, because he was saying the reason he shot at the police officer because Officer Reyes, and he's not contesting this, was shooting back at him. So you have two people shooting at one another. So I'm pretty sure he could be charged with it, of course. He'll probably go to trial. You know, it's a possibility he may be convicted, but keep in mind, I'm pretty sure any good lawyer would argue self-defense, you know, because his defense is going to be, well, Reyes was shooting at me. And Reyes is going to say, well, Sean was shooting at me. And the other part you need to take in mind is that Sean is also going to say, my gun jammed. I was behind the house. And then the other factor comes in is that Ali had been shot and was on the ground, which caused Sean to start firing because he's thinking, okay, he just shot my friend Ali. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of tricky, but you know, the other thing that you guys didn't bring out, you know, anytime you have a witness on the stand, and I believe it was, tell me your name again in the middle. Yes.
Oh, Miracle.
You want to concentrate when you have a witness on cross-examination. You want to show there, and you were very good at it, very effective. And it's funny, when I pledged a sorority in '85, my line name was Faces. They always told me I would not be a good poker player. They said because it's written all over my face, you know, so you kind of reminded me of myself. You kind of reminded me of myself when I was a prosecutor, because you were just kind of laying into the witness, like, answer my question, yes or no, no, yes or no. When you're, kind of putting this witness on, like showing the witness's bias, going to the witness's credibility as far as, were you drinking at the bar? You should have asked them, well, how many beers did you have at the, no, it was another issue. It wasn't about that, but it was something that you was asking the witness, yes or no, and I kind of smiled. But the one thing no one focused on was asking Officer Reyes, how many beers did you have at dinner? And we're supposed to trust you? I mean, at the end of the day, whether it was one beer, a sip of beer, you're not supposed to be drinking on duty. Period. I'm like, what officer do you know that goes out on dinner? Oh, I'm on dinner break. Hey, get me, you in uniform? No, that's a no. No one even asked about that. I'm like waiting. It just seemed okay. Oh, it was okay. Even the FBI agent. No one even, drilled the FBI agent, because it's like they're friends. And even the FBI agent, oh no, that's just ludicrous to think that, he was intoxicated. Even the one witness, the young high school guy, said that something seemed off about Reyes that day. He just seemed like unsteady. No one even drilled on that. It's like, okay, no one even asked, well, why didn't the FBI agent go back to the restaurant, get the receipt, talk to the waitress to, confirm that he only had one beer? Again, you want to go to the witness's bias, and I thought it was you. You did a good job, or maybe it was you, I'm sorry. I know it was on this side though, but that's your friend. You don't want to see anything happen to your friend. You want to take care of your friend. But yeah, I knew it was on that side. I may, be mistaken as far as who actually did the questioning, but it was very good. What other questions do you have? Yes.
Okay, I have a question about, so I felt like my witness was being very much badgered, like they couldn't finish that one statement. And I understand that during cross you can get a yes or no, but if the witness has more to say to the statement, why can't they say what they want to say?
Well, let me ask you a question before I answer that. At what point did you object to your witness being badgered?
I didn't.
Exactly.
It was going to be sustained.
Look, you don't know that. Because had you objected, I would have sustained your objection. You're right, that the witness was being badgered. But you didn't object. I can't sustain. It was a couple of times I looked over to the defense side like, are you going to object? It was a couple of times I looked over at you guys. Am I supposed to do that? No. But yeah, it was a time when your witness was being badgered. You didn't object. Just like I tried to help your coroner out, your forensic doctor out. I'm like, oh, you're an expert in firearms? She's like, yes. Look, I'm like, she's like, yes. I'm like, oh, talk away then, expert. Go right ahead. But yeah, no, your witness shouldn't be badgered, but you should take control of your witness. On cross-examination, you can say, answer my question, yes or no. You don't have to beat them up. But when you're on cross-examination, that's your opportunity as the lawyer to control the witness. That's nice. I know you want to tell me a story, but you could do all of that when the prosecution is up or when the defense is back up. But right now under cross-examination, all I need is a yes or no. If you want to explain something, explain it back on direct examination. But yeah, you do need to object when your witness is being badgered. But you didn't raise an objection, so I can't sustain anything you didn't raise. But I was looking over at you waiting for an objection. You didn't raise one. Just like it was an objection raised after the fact. The witness had already answered the question. It's like, objection. I'm like, well, that one would have been sustained had you raised it prior to the answer. What's your other question? Yes.
Okay, so I was kind of confused because you had asked me did I know anything about firearms, and in my statement I talked about it and he also talked about it. So I was confused whether to say yes or no because I also talked about shotguns
Well, I asked you if you were an expert in firearms. You're a forensic scientist. I wouldn't expect you. He didn't qualify you as an expert in firearms. You're forensic. You're a doctor. He qualified you as a doctor, a forensic scientist, not in firearms. Yes.
Also, as an expert in pathology, she's also required to know what caused, because she was able to say this was a shotgun, this was a rifle, could also qualify her as an expert in determining whether she is.
No, you're missing the point. As a forensic scientist, yeah, a person can come in and testify based upon the wound that the firearm was probably, 30 degrees this way. The person had to fire it that way, but that doesn't make you an expert in firearms. You're analyzing the entry of the wound, but that doesn't make you an expert in firearms. Well, it takes this much pressure on the trigger. That doesn't make you an expert in fire. You're analyzing as far as medical purposes.
No, I'm saying.
Medical purposes. Trust me, I've worked with the coroner enough for 9 years. Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't make you an expert in firearms. We actually have police officers in the Scientific Investigation Unit, SIU, that will come over and testify as to firearms. I've never had a doctor as an expert for firearms. Everyone has a different job. Just like I wouldn't have a medical doctor come over to be an expert as far as an arson. I would have a fireman come over for something like that. Yes?
Okay, so she's not an expert in firearms, which wasn't the point I was trying to get at with that question. But there's like a whole 2 paragraphs in her statement that talks about the firearms that shot at her. That's why I felt like I didn't need her expert testimony, that she had already spoke about it in her testimony prior to it.
She testified for you. Remember, she said she was, so she answered your questions. It's not like the testimony didn't come out. She said she was. She answered your questions. Remember, she answered all your...
Sustained, though, so I didn't actually
It was not. No, remember I said, are you an expert in firearms? She said yes. And I said overruled. She answered your questions.
No, but then I tried to ask it again, and they objected to ask the answer, so the question never actually got answered.
No, it didn't. You're forgetting. Hi, pay attention. She answered all of your questions. Remember I said, oh no, she opened the door. It's too late. She said she's an expert. She's your witness. All of that testimony came in. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, sir. Yes.
I just want to do a quick time check because I know we're running short.
1:37. We're finished? We're finished. Thank you.
I surrender.
All right, pal.
Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Can I play with it?
No, absolutely not. It's not a toy. You know that. Anyway, I need it to protect you, your sister, and Mom.
But what about the 8 kids who get shot every day by mistake?
Where'd you hear that?
Where do you keep it?
It's hidden.
I bet it's on the top shelf of the closet, under your sweatshirts. Is it loaded? Remember when I found my Christmas gift? You always told me to be curious.
No, that's not what I meant.
And when it's just me and Mom, I could use the gun to protect her.
No, Justin, I promise. I'm always here for you.
But Dad, you're not always here.
The court is hereby adjourned.
Well, on behalf of all the participants, the lawyers, the judges, and all of you, the faculty, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of myself and my colleagues to thank each and every one of you for your presence here today, as well as all the hopefully future lawyers in the room. You all did an outstanding job, and one of the most difficult things is that we only get to give out 2 outstanding awards, one for the outstanding attorney and one for the outstanding witness. So it's very difficult because, as I indicated, everyone in here did an amazing job, and I can tell that you have been preparing for more than just a day, if not weeks. So the award for the outstanding witness is Kyra Shaw. Where's Kyra? Oh, hi Kyra. Congratulations. And the award for the outstanding attorney is Miracle Harris. Congratulations. So if you will kindly go to the 4th floor, I will see you all down there for the awards presentation.
You made your house a reality. Homeschooling yourself on loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to the 2019 Mock Trial Award Ceremony. Yes, indeed. First of all, I would like to thank each and every one of the participants, because I know as a lawyer for the past 26 years what it takes to get prepared for a trial. Even as a mock trial, you still must prepare, so I know and I can appreciate the efforts that you have put into preparing for today. First and foremost, I would like to welcome the CEO, Eric Gordon, from the Cleveland Metropolitan School District.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that was pretty pitiful. After all this great work, that's all you got. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 9 schools, 14 teams, and 245 people in those courtrooms. Give yourselves a round of applause. I know that you already know this, but you actually tried a case that came right out of Cleveland's history, right in our own Glenville neighborhood, the Glenville shootout, where the alleged perpetrator, Fred Evans, actually went on trial for his part in that shootout in 1969. So that's the case. You're telling our history and retelling our history here. And I know that some people actually visited that actually have direct connection to that, and so you brought something very personal back for a lot of people, and I think that's really wonderful. And these cases are created in part with people who have been through this program too, students that sat in seats just like you, and help us to create these cases along with our partners, the Cleveland Municipal Court and the Cleveland Bar Association. So really excited about that in particular. These are the kinds of things that I want our students doing. These are what we call demonstrations of learning, where you have real tasks with real audiences, real judges who heard your cases. And so we're trying to do more and more of this, and you're modeling exactly why. Because all I've heard is how greatly prepared you were, how well you've done, and that's what I know you can do every day. So I'm really proud of you, and you should be proud of yourselves. I think we need to do a few thank yous. First, can we please thank your teachers and educators who helped you prepare for this? Didn't happen without them. We have to thank the people from the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association. We have the single strongest partnership of any bar association in the country committed to education. Give them some real love. For the Cleveland Municipal Courts, all of the staff, the judges, everybody who actually gave you their courtrooms and sat on your cases, let's give some love for them for that tremendous work. And I just want to say again, whether you ultimately choose legal professions directly as your chosen professional career path, or whether you choose other career paths, these kinds of demonstrations of learning, these authentic things are going to serve you well in whatever you do. So congratulations to all of you. Thanks again to all of our partners. And let's get on with this program.
I would be remiss if I failed to acknowledge and allow my colleagues to say a few words to you. We will start with, to my left, the Honorable Judge Sheila Turner McCall, the Honorable Judge Charles Patton, the Honorable Judge Ann Claire Okar, and the Honorable Judge Suzanne Sweeney. Say hello. Come on, real quick. Come on.
Good afternoon to all of you. I greet you. I am a John Adams Rebel graduate. She's a hater. She went to Kennedy. So I love being here. I love for you guys to realize that you too can do what, I don't know, are you CMSD? But, you know, we have a rivalry going. She's Kennedy, but John Adams is the best. We know that. So congratulations to all of you.
Good afternoon and congratulations for this achievement you've gone through today. I want you to think about, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do? What contribution do you want to make to society? I met Martin Luther King one day at Corey Church on 105 here in Cleveland. He had just gotten out of jail in Birmingham, Alabama. And he gave a speech to a packed church. I couldn't get inside the church. I was about 13 years old. But some elders of the church invited some young guys standing on the street to go into the pastor's office and hear the speech. When the speech was over, upstairs, Martin Luther King came downstairs and said hi to us. And he asked us, what do you want to do when you grow up? And he walked over to me, put his hand on my shoulder, and said the movement, the civil rights movement, needs some attorneys. I went home that night and I asked my mother, what's an attorney? I didn't know. But I found out. You have done something I didn't have an experience to do when I attended Glenville or when I attended Kennedy. I have two alma maters here in Cleveland. So I was in your seats as a student in the Cleveland Public Schools and went to Howard University Law School. And I'm here now. But you can do that. Congratulations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Judge Ann Claire Okar, and I just want to say that I think you really all did such a great job. The students that were in my courtroom were very well prepared. It's really hard to do a trial. There are attorneys that have butterflies in their stomach even after they've been practicing law, as Judge Carr said, for many years before they do a trial. So what you did today, you should be really proud of yourselves. You did a great job, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Cleveland Municipal School District. Awesome mock trial competitors. I don't know which of you had listened this morning to Judge Michael Nelson, who heard some of the teams this morning. He actually lived through the Glenville riots and had a lot of friends involved. So what you presented today is, as Eric Gordon said, part of Cleveland's history. The other thing I have to give congratulations to every single one of you for is to stand up in front of somebody and make a speech, just to speak clearly and be understood. Many adults can't do that. So the fact that all of you have stood up and presented your case is amazing, and we give you ultimate applause. Congratulations. And thank you.
You are relieved of duty. All right, where's my script here? Okay. Flash, where are you, Flash? Yes, Flash. Ask Gail. Oh, Gail, where are you? Come over here, Gail. Okay. I don't have a script, okay? Don't worry, we'll be okay. Come on, Gail. Oh, let me see. That's right, I'm introducing Gail Gaddison, the social studies teacher who worked with several students at Glenville. Let's give it up for Gail.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know what? I will always be a teacher, but I'm no longer in the classroom. I head the social studies department for CMSD. And as a social studies teacher, I taught the civil rights movement, but I tended to teach the civil rights movement by talking about the South. I also would teach the Huff riots, but I paid very little attention to the Glenville shootout and the ensuing Glenville riots. So when you learn history, it's about cause and effect, okay? And so it's not just about that moment in time, it's about how that moment in time impacted the time after that and how it continues to impact the present. Last year, I had the pleasure of working with students at Glenville High School, and I had never met these students. And I asked them the first day that I met them, I said, what does a healthy community look like? And we took some time to talk about that. And we started to take a look at, number one, what a healthy community looks like. And then number two, we started to talk about their community, which was the Glenville community. And we all decided that maybe Glenville isn't as healthy as it used to be. So then the next question was, well, what happened? And we started to delve into that moment in time that we call the Glenville shootout. Two of those students are here today, and we got the chance to travel to South Carolina to meet with and interview a gentleman who conducted the study of the causes of the Glenville shootout. I didn't know these two women, because they were women now, these young women, prior to meeting and working with them. But I watched them grow because they are now butterflies. Okay, here they are, Shanoa Miller and Bria Cook.
Good morning, everyone. Well, good afternoon now, but good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say that, like they just said, I am so proud of every single student in this room because I went to different courtrooms and all I saw was complete excellence. So can you just give yourselves another round of applause, please? So like she said, learning this story, I learned this story my senior year. I graduated last year, and it did not only change my perception of my community, but it made me realize what I can do for my own community, right? So you sit here and say, oh, yes, I'm the future leader. I can be a politician. I can be a doctor. I can be this influencer. But do you really realize that until you know your purpose, know where you came from, know your value, you know, does that give you that drive, that persistence to keep going and do everything you set your heart out to do? And that's exactly what learning this story did for me and Bree. Right now, I'm a part of the PAC. If you don't know what that is, it's Black Women's Political Action Committee, and it has given me such a drive to pursue this different career that I did not think I was going to be a part of. But you being here today, participating in my trial, was literally your first step into your community, into improving your community and also your career. So I just want to say thank you on that. And also for the teachers who got me here, for the director of social studies that got me here, for many influencers that got me here, those are also your teachers that are here today. Okay? And I just want you to show your appreciation for that.
So first of all,
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bree Cook. I am class of 2018 of Glenville High School. I am also, I participated in this trial my senior year of high school. And speaking about the Glenville shootout, it was interesting to learn about because I came to Glenville my freshman year of high school. I'm originally from East Cleveland, so I wasn't from the community. But I went to Glenville and I learned about it. And it was fascinating to see such events occur in a city where you had no idea. And you wonder why we got all of these abandoned buildings and all of these damaged properties in the community, and that's actually where it came from. So that was fascinating to learn about as well. Congratulations, you guys, on finishing your mock trial today. If any of you want to be lawyers, good luck with that. I myself want to be a lawyer after doing this, so I'll be going to law school. But just good luck with your journey, and keep it up, and congratulations.
And now we will have the presentation of participation certificates. Come on, Judge Sweeney, you said you would help me.
Outstanding attorneys.
Okay. You're up, Judge Sweeney.
All right, for the 2019 mock trial competition, for recognized as an outstanding attorney is Lily Kwiatkowski.
Would you like to say a few words?
Sure.
You have the mic.
Hi, I've been doing mock trial for 2 years in high school, and it's a really great program that's definitely helped build my speaking skills, and it's a great way to meet friends and just have fun, and I'm really happy that I got to do this. I do not want to go into law, I do want to go into medicine, but it's definitely helped with my speaking skills and my communication skills, so keep doing it if you're not a senior yet, and hopefully you'll find your passion that way.
You're still up? Oh, no, I have to do this one. I'm
this one.
sorry.
You know her.
I don't know her at all. All I can say, the next person that's coming up, boy, oh boy, she made me go back to my days as a city and a county prosecutor. All I could do when I saw this young lady in action, I kind of broke code because she actually put a smile on my face. She almost made me unzip my robe and say, "That's it. I'm going back to the county prosecutor's office. I'm leaving this judgeship." And then I remembered, no, I'm going to stay here. It is my pleasure, it is my honor to present Miracle Harris as the outstanding attorney, my mini-me.
Say a few words. So I just want to say thank you to Ms. Parker and Brandon and Karen, who are also back there. They helped us get here. I want to say thank you to my team. I feel like this is like an award speech, sir. Like I'm at the Emmys or something. I just want to say thank you to my team, my co-counsel. You know, I'm proud of you guys. I hope you continue doing it when I'm gone. Yeah. I want to be a lawyer, so this is definitely important to me. And I love her. Like, we just met, and I love her already. So, yeah, thanks.
Flash. Flash. Photo op.
Uh-oh, 3:15. Uh-oh, we got to go faster. Your turn. No speeches.
All right, recognized as an outstanding attorney, LaVon Shepard, come on up.
Call the next one. I'll walk up. Where's LaVon? We're going
Levon Shepherd. Levon Shepherd. All right, next. Recognized as an outstanding attorney, Tabaris Scott. Come on up. Yay! All right, also recognized as an outstanding attorney is Roberto Rivera. Recognized as an outstanding attorney, Dia Young. Come on up, Dia. Another outstanding attorney we want to recognize, Miranda Lopez. Recognized as an outstanding attorney, Ja'Cory Butts. Yay! Recognized as an outstanding attorney is Nashe Whitson. Another outstanding attorney we want to recognize, Maya Heiskell. Come on up, Maya. Ooh, sorry.
I'll take your time, Maya. Don't you rush. We have plenty of time. Oh, thank you, Maya. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you.
Recognized as an outstanding attorney is Kenneth Schrill. Come on up, Kenneth. Yay.
Come on down, Kenneth. You're on the Price is Right. All right. Congrats.
We also want to recognize as an outstanding attorney, Julia Taylor. Yay, Julia! Is he already read? That's a reprint. No, I already read him. And the last outstanding attorney, Janira Santiago. Oh. You know what? There's two of them. Also, as an outstanding attorney, apparently two people have the same name, Roberto Rivera. Yeah. He won twice. Recognized as an outstanding witness in the role of Sean Evans is Haley Gilbert. Yay! Woo, here we go. In the role as an outstanding witness, Jashawn Simpkins. Jashawn Simpkins. Recognized as an outstanding witness, Kira Shaw. Probably had to leave. Oh, here she is. Come on up.
Hey, girl. Congratulations.
Recognized as an outstanding witness, Hema Castro. Woo! Recognized as an outstanding witness is Sabrina Brooks. Congratulations. Recognized as an outstanding witness, Nia Helms. Recognizes an outstanding witness, Chartiz Ford. Yay, Chartiz, come on up. Oh. Recognized as an outstanding witness, another one for Haley Gilbert. Recognized as an outstanding witness, Brianna Brown. Recognized as an outstanding witness is Destiny Robertson. Yay, Destiny! Recognized as an outstanding witness is Taylor Otex. Come on up, Taylor. Taylor. Recognized as an outstanding witness is Rayvon Owens. Recognized as an outstanding witness is Sydney Cummings. And finally, recognized as an outstanding witness is Taimolfi Kamar Malak.
Do that one first, and then this person right here is getting this. Their name's not on it, but they're getting this.
You're doing a good job.
And the Writers Award, which is an honorable mention from Facing History New Tech, is Nate Titzinger. Come on up, Nate.
Come on, Nate. Both of them? This one. And the first place winner for Outstanding Writer, who will get a job at Cleveland Municipal Court, from John Hay Science and Medicine, Courtney White. Welcome to Cleveland Municipal Court. That's a summer internship.
So,
In
we
this
already
order?
announced this one, but
Okay.
you can say these three. These three were the outstanding overall, and they get a summary. And then we'll announce the winners.
Okay. Do you want to go first? The other internships are going to, for Outstanding Prosecuting Attorney for Martin Luther King, Nashe Whitson. New Tech West. Whoops, somebody mistyped this. Congratulations. Welcome to an internship at the Cleveland Municipal Court for your outstanding performance as a prosecuting attorney.
Thank you. We're crossing out that little part.
Next, for the performance as an outstanding defense attorney, an internship goes to Tabara Scott, Collinwood. finally, for outstanding witness performance, an internship goes to Sabrina Brooks. And we already know Courtney White has an internship too, but come on up, Sabrina. Congratulations.
You get paid. I'll see you this summer. When you can take me to lunch. That's good. You can take me to a nice expensive restaurant.
So third place? In third place, the trophy goes to team number 1 at New Tech West.
I was so confused. I was like, what's happening?
We're number 3.
Guys, make sure you can get in the picture.
Come here, get in here. We're number 3. What's the odds? Get in there.
You should be in the front. You should be in the front.
All right.
And the second place trophy goes to Railroaders, Collinwood. Come on up! All right.
Say it again. Okay.
Okay, listen up for this first place trophy. I want everyone else from this school neatly lined up behind us so our wonderful photographer and your teachers can take pictures. The award goes to John Hay, Early College.
Thanks for watching TV 20. We are Cleveland.